Welcome. Welcome to Melrose Unitarian Universalist Church. Our service today is called Youth-Led Worship and Bridging Ceremony. Good morning. Good morning. That's pretty good. All right. It's a good turnout today. Thank you all for coming. I am the Reverend Dr. Suzanne Intriligator, although I look a little bit different and people are having trouble recognizing me this morning. It's me. I hope it's not too shocking. You might recall back in January that I preached on a book called The Way of Integrity, and then I led some book groups about it, and it was in that process that I sort of came to realize that it was time for me to go gray, to look how I really look. So it took me a while to figure out how, and it turned out I have to just chop it all off. So I did that just in time for summer, and it's just a good thing I was able to donate all that crazy hair to children with hair loss. So that's great, and I feel a lot more like me. And I realized that that is really appropriate for today, because today is all about growing up and growing into yourself and becoming who you really are. And Mary Beth likes that. She's giving me one of these. Becoming who you and sometimes, as we know, that's a lifelong process. So before we get to the service today, I have just a couple of announcements for everybody. Due to the recent rise in COVID yet again, our safety team has decided that we need to go back to requiring KN95 masks for worship starting next Sunday. So right now our policy is any mask you like all over the building, and next week we're going to go back to KN95s. But we have spares back in the hallway, as everybody here knows, if you'd like to use one today. And also, we need your help with a couple of things. As most of us here know, I think, both Lisa Wilson-Wright and her husband John are going through surgery this summer. They are participating in a kidney donation chain process. On June 16th, Lisa will be donating a kidney, and she will start the chain that will help 6 other people, including John, eventually toward the end of the chain. Since both of them are having major surgery this summer, and they do have a teenager at home still, we need to gather a team of people to support. Now, they have lots of friends here, so church is supplementing that, and the lovely Mary Beth Griscom is coordinating our team. So see Mary Beth if you can help out with things like dog walks, preparing a meal, helping care for their garden, things like that. Also, you can email Caring Team. The Caring Team is caring@melroseuu.org if you can help out. We'd really appreciate it. Next Sunday is going to be a really cool service as well. Jenny Wengrovius, our incoming president, requested a service about body image and fat liberation, which is a really interesting topic. We're going to have a guest speaker on that topic, and Jenny's going to share a personal reflection with us. So please be here, don't miss it. Also, we are working on getting ready for our summer Sundays. Our last gathering here in the sanctuary will be Sunday, June 12th, and then we'll have our Father's Day picnic on Sunday, June 19th. And then after that, we will be gathering for fun summer activities, and organizing that is the worship committee and its chair, Eric Lambiaso. So he's got a couple words about that. Eric, please come right up, and be careful. There's stuff here. Maybe come this way.
Good morning. What nourishes your spirit? This Sunday, this summer, on Sunday mornings, our worship committee is going to help facilitate spiritual gatherings of our community. We are looking for members of our community to volunteer to lead an activity to offer a space for community and connection. That's you. What can you offer? Would you be willing to lead a sing-along, a walk in nature, a shared art project, or a meditation or yoga session in the park? Maybe you'd like to share a favorite TED Talk and lead a discussion afterwards. Lead a cooking class and share a meal afterwards, or organize a play read. Our hope is to have different offerings each Sunday led by members of our community. Again, that's you. We want to hear from you on what you'd be willing to lead and share. If we get 8 to 10 volunteers, the summer will be covered, and we'll have a variety of activities for us all to partake in. So reach out to me or any member of the worship committee. If there are worship committee members in the room, can you raise your hand? So we have actually just one of us here today. Ginger's here, so see Ginger or I afterwards service, or reach out to us during the week. We're hoping to organize this all together soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you for being an usher today, along with Jenny. Thanks also to Liz Folzer, who is our chat room host. Thank you, Liz. And thank you to our guest musicians today. Appreciate you. Folks here in the room, I just want to remind you that you can submit joys and sorrows on paper if you like. So raise your hand now if you'd like a pen and some paper if you want to. You can also come to the mic when it's time. So you can do that either way. Folks at home can type into the chat box. If you want a fan, I have these back in the back of the room if you're getting too hot. Please help yourself. One last announcement. After the service today, we will have a cake to celebrate Ellie and a full lunch on the front lawn. The lunch is a gift from Stacy and Alistair of our Opening Doors project to thank the congregation for hosting their concert recently. So they've earned a plug. They've got an Opening Doors live festival outdoors coming up on June 11th. Please make sure that's on your calendar. Folks at home, please feel free to come down after the worship service and join us for lunch on the front lawn. There's a lot of food out here, so you're very welcome. We have 2 tents outside to shade us, and we even have a water mister. So it should be really fun. Please come down and help us celebrate, because today's a really special day. Now it's time for our weekly moment of gathering and welcoming and greeting each other. So please turn around and say hi to everybody in the room and wave to everybody at home. Hi, people at home. Oh, hi, Tenby, I see you. Hi, Wilson Wright family. Good morning, Carol Nestor. Hi, Linda. Hi, Liz Folzer. Hi, everybody. I am so pleased that there's such a big crowd here this morning. So many people have come down to celebrate Ellie and our whole high school youth group. It's great to see you all. Okay, well, the youth have organized the service today, so I'm handing it over. Come on up, Katie.
Our call to worship this morning is Thresholds by Arlen Goff. Thresholds. We cross them every day, from room to room, from outside to inside and back again, from here to there, from anywhere to everywhere, from age to age. Each threshold offers an opportunity for renewal, for change, for transformation, from what we were and what we are to what we can be. In this hour and in this place, we cross a threshold from our day-to-day everydayness into space and time attuned to the other, to the sacred, to the holy, into an awareness of new life, pregnant with possibilities. How will we be renewed in this moment? How will we be changed by this hour? How will we be transformed through this gathering of beloved community? Come, let us worship together. And now, together, we light the symbol of our living faith, the flaming chalice. Here to light it and give a reading is Molly Boyd.
Our chalice reading is by Kimberly Ann Tom Zach Carson. Oh, oops. Okay. Recognizing the beauty around us and within us, in voice and spirit, we gather to light our chalice. May we savor the beauty of our abundance and diversity, always cherishing one another in our earth. May we remember to inhale the lushness in life, knowing that we are people of beauty.
Our opening hymn this morning is Here Comes the Sun. Alistair and Cleo MUUC and Jenny Wengrovius will be performing for us. And please sing along on the chorus and bridge. Words will be posted on the screen behind us.
Yay, I was supposed to ask you to stand for that, if you would please. Join me, if you would, in the words of our covenant and in the song of aspiration. There it is. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship. One with another and with our God. Oh, I guess the audio is missing. Oh, we're going to have to just sing it. Jenny, you want to come help? Dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung, through every land, by every tongue. Thank you. Please be seated. You guys are really good at that.
When planning for the service today, the youth decided they wanted to celebrate the teenage experience. One way of doing this was learning more about the experiences of those in other generations through interviewing adult members of our congregation. What was it like to grow up in the 60s or the 70s? The following video is part of the conversations Molly and Ellie had with Beth Yergrau and Mary Lou Sang.
Remember that from the 60s.
The Beatles were really, really big, and I saw them on the Ed Sullivan Show with my mother thinking that they had wild haircuts.
And I remember my favorite rock group of all time, which is the Doors and the Rolling Stones. I will always love them, always.
There were a lot of groups. Motown, I loved Motown. It helped me begin to develop a sense of who I was. It gives you clues about growing up and which roads you want to take and what you don't. And then the songs are a safe way to experiment with that without any risks. If you're just singing. My whole world revolved around theater and dance. And just like music, but even more so, you can experiment with and you learn about different personalities and personas and states of minds and perspectives, when you're in theater. Also, you get very, very tight often. One gets very tight with the people that they're working with. And it gave me a structure. I still had independence, but it still felt safe.
For me, it was very carefree. I mean, my father bought me a car when I was 16, so he didn't have to pick me up after all the after-school activities. It was basically, for me, it was very carefree, and sometimes I used to do things that I shouldn't, like booking 2 dates on the same night.
I did a lot of live theater, too, of my own making. I went out on a date of my sister's for the whole night as her. That's a long story. I didn't have it. I really do think I didn't struggle a whole lot. I really didn't struggle in my adolescent years. I found the early 20s when I got out of college, the more difficult years, because it was all of a sudden, well, what do I do now? It always had been, well, you're going to go to high school, then you're going to go to college. So for me, those were the most complicated years for me.
My mother worked on her master's degree. She dropped me off at this huge library, the university library, while she went to class. So I got very accustomed to being around the university. So therefore, when I was in high school at this, small school about 10 miles from the university, the only thing I really could think about was getting to college. And I had fun in high school, don't get me wrong. I was editor of the school newspaper, I was editor of the yearbook, I was president of the chess club, and I had all that going on, plus all my classical piano lessons, which I was totally devoted to. But more than anything else, I just wanted to get to Michigan State and then get to New York City. That's all I wanted my whole life, was to get to New York.
My father was a Northern Baptist, and he was very devout. And I liked the family ties that we had to his church. I did not connect at all to Catholicism, but I did love going with my Nana because I loved her and it made her happy. And so there was a community with my father's church, but I think I would have embraced a Unitarian Universalist church. Neither of them really worked for me.
Believe in it. And so when I was 12 or 13, I was in a membership class to be a member of this Methodist church. And the minister really got fed up with me because I asked him questions he couldn't answer. And he called my father up and he said, "Your daughter really doesn't belong in this class." And my father said, "I think that she's capable of making up her own mind." And that's when the next week or so, I ran to the library and I got everything I could out about Buddhism and Hinduism, and basically struck my own path. And
listen to your gut about, does this feel right? Does this feel like me? Or am I trying to be something that I'm not? And your friendships, just are these friendships that make me feel good about myself? Am I my best self, when I'm with them? I think those are, or am I with people I'm having to work too hard with? Who do I feel, I always like the expression, who do I feel most at home with? And just most comfortable and feel like I feel authentic. It feels easy, and it's very invigorating in its ease and safety.
I think the biggest difference between when I was growing up in the late 60s and what you're going through is we didn't have social media. We didn't have to worry about someone posting something online. What we had to worry about is when 2 or 3 people got together and they started gossiping. And then you would hear about it the next day, so-and-so said something, and so on and so on. And it's just like, oh, get me out of here. I want to go to college, get me out of here.
Thank you so much to Mary Lou and Beth for sharing their time and stories with us. 2 youth will respond to these interviews later on in the sermon space today. Molly and Ellie will tell us a little bit about what it's like to be growing up in the 2020s. As we celebrate today, I want to take a moment to express our deep gratitude for the folks who have been working with our children and youth this year. It takes our whole community to support our children from nursery to bridging and beyond. First, our wonderful high school youth group advisors, Chuck Foley and Randall Gromitstein. High school youth group would not have been possible this year without your dedication, and it is always such a pleasure to work with you. Next, the fantastic facilitators for the Our Whole Lives Sexuality Education Program for our 7th and 8th graders, Jim Duncan and Michelle Aldrich. We are incredibly blessed to have both of you leading our youth through this important program with such sensitivity, warmth, and enthusiasm. Then, of course, we have the Religious Education Committee, who has been hard at work behind the scenes, working through the unique challenges this year presented and generating ideas that will carry us into the future. Thank you to Maggie Beasley, Jeannie Harris, Henry Weinberg, and our new chair, Florence Cordovano. Finally, thank you to Beth Yergrau, my partner in the Storytellers program, and all the other folks who offered their time and special talents to our kindergarten through sixth grade group this year. Lucy Goss, Patricia Ferris, Maggie Beasley, Jane Roper, Janice Bissix, Mary Delahanty, Gretchen Locke, and Michelle DeVoe. Could all of the RE volunteers who are here today just please stand up for a moment so that we can give you a round of applause? Thank you so much.
Each week, we take time out of our lives for meditation and prayer, each of us to connect with the holy, however it is we understand the holy. Let's start our meditation time together this morning by settling into our chairs, feeling our bodies settling, feeling our feet on the floor. Let us breathe in and out together. In this meditation time, first we'll join together in our centering song, then we'll sit for a few minutes of shared silence, then we'll speak to one another of our joys and sorrows, and then Ellie will lead us in a prayer. Our worship theme for May is Nurturing Beauty. It's a month to notice the natural world around us, to appreciate and grow the beauty inside us and in one another. Our centering song for the month of May is called Let Us See the Beauty. It's a 2-layered chant. Feel free to sing either layer, or just take a moment and enjoy the song and let it bring you into our time of prayer and meditation this morning.
Let us see the beauty every day, and source our lives from its presence. Let us see the beauty every day, and source our lives from its presence.
I want to know if you can see the beauty, even when it's not pretty every day. I want to know if you can see the beauty and source your life from its presence. I want to know if you can see the beauty, even
Every Sunday, we share with one another the joys and sorrows of our lives, the personal milestones of our journey together. We listen with openness and compassion, and this sharing helps weave us together into an ever stronger community. So we'll start today sharing any sorrows you may have. People in the room, if you have a sorrow to share, please come forward. Step up to the mic now. People who are on Zoom, go ahead and share a sorrow in the chat box if you like. Eric, do we have any on paper? No, we do not. Let's see if we have any on Zoom. From Florence, a candle of love and support for Viva, who is recovering from COVID. Liz, my chat host, have I missed any sorrows in the chat box?
You haven't missed any, no.
Okay. Let's take a moment and hold these sorrows and all those who are unspoken today. Let's hold them in our hearts. Let us remember to reach out to people in our lives who are hurting and send our love and prayers to the community in Buffalo and people around the world who are suffering today. Eric, go ahead and light one candle as a beacon of our caring. This is for all the sorrows, both spoken and unspoken, among us this morning. Do we have any joys to share this morning? I invite people with a joy to share to come forward or to go ahead and type it into the chat box. Do we have any on paper, Eric? Oh, we do. Go ahead.
I have one. A candle from John R. in appreciation for the wonderful people who are taking care of my mother.
And I have a joy from Joyce Rodenhauser, who says, joy for clear breathing, rhubarb pie, and coconut cake. Those all sound really good. I have a joy for our lunch together today, and a joy for the beautiful bridging ceremony we're about to put together. And there are a lot of comments about my hair. Let's say that's a joy. All right, let's take a moment to hold all these joys in our hearts too. Thank you so much for sharing your joys. They help connect us to one another and connect us to the beauty of living. Eric, please light one more candle to shine out our gratitude for the many, many joys in our lives.
Suzanne, you didn't ask me, and you missed my candle, which was a candle of gratitude and admiration from the board meeting Thursday night. Thank you all for your leadership, and especially to Dan Griscom.
That's so nice. That was a candle of joy for the board meeting and for Dan and his excellent leadership. Dan is here somewhere. I can't see him. He stepped out. He's always doing something. Thank you, Dan. And now it's time for a prayer from Ellie.
I invite you to join in a body prayer. I will show you the motions, then invite you to move through them with me once. Then we will all pray with our bodies in silence 3 times. We begin with our hands in front of us in the prayer pose to find our inner quiet. We raise our arms up high to open ourselves to the Spirit of life and God of love. We bring our hands to our hearts to affirm the strength of our inner voice. We extend our hands out in front of us to offer to others and to the world all that we have to give. We bring our hands down, gathering in the gifts and bringing them to our hearts. And return to our stillness, we bring our hands together in the prayer pose. So we're going to do this again with me leading you through it one more time. So we begin with our hands in front of us in the prayer pose. And we raise our arms up high to open ourselves to the Spirit of life. We bring our hands to our hearts to affirm the strength of our inner voice. We extend our hands out in front of us. And then we bring our hands down, gathering in all of the gifts and bringing them to our hearts. And finally, return to our stillness. Bring our hands together in the prayer pose. Now we're going to do this motion in silence. Thank you. Okay. Now is the time for our offertory. Our church is a self-supporting organization funded by your generous and annual pledges. You may also contribute to our weekly collection plate, which we split every month with a deserving cause. Folks on Zoom can donate either way using the orange button at the top right corner of our homepage at melroseuu.org. For May, our giving partner, chosen by our high school youth group, is Youth on Fire, a drop-in center for homeless and street-involved youth and young adults that is run out of the UU Church in Cambridge. Every year, Youth on Fire serves hundreds of young people, providing meals and snacks, mental health check-ins, and housing support. For our offertory music today, Katie asked if there were any songs that were personally meaningful to us. I thought of Such Great Heights by the Postal Service, which was playing on the radio when my parents brought me home from the hospital. In celebration of similarities of the teenage experience across generations, here's a cover of that song from the early 2000s done in the style of the Jackson 5 by Postmodern Jukebox. Hello, my name is Molly Boyd and I am 14. My experience of being a teenager is probably very different than people who grew up in the 20th centuries. This is a big advancement in the technology used nowadays that has affected my life greatly. 2 years ago, the pandemic caused schools to shut down and all be virtual, which was really hard for everyone, since it had never been done before. I had a lot of trouble with my social life, and being able to speak to people was hard. I'm in high school now, and there's a lot of new things that are happening. I've met a lot of new people, had the freedom to try out new things, and I've been able to try and figure out my identity. There's a new independence, and I am able to explore things such as religion, hobbies, and consider what I want to do in my life. There are also a lot of things that are very difficult when you become a teenager. You start to become more aware of the problems that are happening in society, such as politics and climate change. Social media is an important thing for teenagers. While it can make it easier to communicate with friends and other people online, it can make kids less present and change how we view things. Before there was technology that is as advanced as it is now, there was a lot of things that weren't as easy to do, such as being able to talk to people without being with them, or being able to listen to music as easily as we can now. After doing my interview with Mary Lou and hearing my own parents talk about their childhood compared to mine, I was able to find out what life was like for different generations. With graduation just around the corner, I've been spending a lot of time reflecting on important moments in my high school career. Although there are many to choose from, I found that some of my favorites stem from my experiences in senior youth group here at church. Throughout my time as a senior ute, as we are affectionately called, there were several more formal moments and ceremonies to look back on, but to me, it's the small ones that stick out. I will always cherish the time spent laughing over a game of categories or talking about AP exams between bites of M&Ms. I know it was in these moments that I truly made friends for life. It didn't matter that I did not share the same grade level as the others. There was no room to feel left out at meetings, no matter your age. One of my fondest memories of the past 4 years was in 2019 when the group took a trip to Rockport. It was a misty afternoon which gave the town a ghost-like look that I thought made it even more beautiful. After a delicious meal at a local hot dog restaurant we found, everyone ventured out onto the jetty that protects Rockport's Cove. When we reached the end, all the youth selected a rock near one another and started conversing. As I remember it, the conversation lasted over an hour and ranged all the way from school sports to future career dreams. As the youngest in the group, I valued the opportunity to get advice from some seasoned high schoolers, especially ones that I had grown up with. They shared with me what the best classes to take were and how to navigate the high school social scene. It didn't matter that we didn't go to the same school or have the same teachers. They were happy to impart their wisdom nonetheless. Plus, different schools meant that I was able to hear some pretty hilarious stories about rowdy study hall sessions that I had never heard before. Even as the youth group format switched online during the pandemic, the sense of community we had created over the past 2 years remained strong. When I couldn't see any of my friends in person or do the activities I loved, I treasured the opportunity to chat every Sunday night with some familiar faces. I was so grateful to have people who shared my love of Jackbox games to spend time with in the midst of all the changes that were happening. Now that we are able to be back in person, I am more thankful than ever for the brown couch in the youth room and its ability to bring us all together. This year, I have met several wonderful youth, such as Molly and Maya, who have stepped up to the plate despite only being freshmen, helping to plan worships and contributing meaningfully to conversations. I am happy to be leaving the youth group in their hands. And finally, to Katie and the youth group mentors, Randall Gromitstein, Chuck Foley, Garen Boyd, Lizzie Barber, and Dan Griscom. Thank you so much for everything you have done for us these past few years. Your careful planning of events and ability to brighten up conversations made all the difference, and I will carry all of the thoughtful advice you have given me for many years to come. You have always put our needs and ideas first when shaping the course of the group, and in doing so, you made it all the more beneficial for each youth. And to the entire church community, thank you so much for creating such a warm environment for me to grow up in. I can confidently say that I would not be the person I am today without MUUC, and I will definitely be back to visit.
All right, so Bridging is a celebration of a huge transition in the lives of our young people. It is an opportunity to look back to where we've been and a promise to support them as they continue on their journey. For us, the bridge is a transition from the ending of childhood to the beginning of young adulthood. It is our community's promise to share in their lives. It is a way to honor everything that our young people have learned on their journey thus far. Today, we come together to celebrate Ellie and bless her journey onward. It has been a blessing to witness her growing up in this community. In the UU tradition, we will have a line of people going down both sides of the aisle. Once the whole bridge is built, we will raise our hands to create a tunnel for Ellie to walk through. Our bridge will have two ends. At the beginning, Ellie's family represents the childhood that is ending. At the end, our recent graduates represent the young adulthood that is beginning and to welcome Ellie to this next stage of life. When you take your place, please leave space between yourself and the people next to you. We would suggest going every other pew and kind of staggered on either side. As Ellie goes through the bridge today, we will sing our traditional favorite, Wo Ya Ya, along with members of the choir. Could choir members please come take your places now? To start our bridge, I call forward Ellie's family, who have been supporting and nurturing her spiritual development since she was born. Next, anyone that has worked with Ellie in RE, each class being an important stepping stone on Ellie's journey. Then, I'll give people a second. There we go. All right. Then, any high schoolers that are here today, you have been Ellie's peers this year, and you will be following in her footsteps soon. Now, any lifelong UUs, you are examples of the strength that our faith and our community provides. Now, any members of the congregation that are not yet in the bridge, so anybody else here, except for our recent graduates, you're going to go. Each of you is a necessary puzzle piece in creating the wholeness of our community. And finally, at the very end of our bridge, our recent high school graduates to welcome Ellie into young adulthood. Ellie, as you go through the bridge, carry with you all that you have learned here. Feel our blessings and the hope you give us for the future. As you reach the end of the bridge, remember that you always have a home in this community and this faith. Everyone, please lift your arms and sing as you are comfortable when the music starts. And then you can start walking when the music starts.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know it, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going.
You can make your way back to your seats as the music continues.
We will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah. 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 Oh yeah,
Ellie, we have a couple of gifts for you, the traditional roses, as well as a journal for self-exploration and a book of poetry for inspiration. Also, there is one recent graduate who was not able to attend today, so you can go sit, but sent along a video from London.
Hi Ellie, congratulations on graduating and bridging. This is so exciting. It's such an exciting time to see your whole future ahead of you. I know that you're gonna do such great things because you're an excellent leader and an excellent friend, and you're gonna change the world. And I've honestly loved growing up with you so much, and I'm so grateful to call you my friend. And have an excellent bridging ceremony and graduation. And congratulations again.
Our closing hymn today is a favorite of the youth here at MUUC, at least since I began here. And I can't think of anything more appropriate to close our bridging ceremony on than this joyous song calling us forth to the future. Please stand and embody our spirit for Fire of Commitment number 1028 in the Teal hymnal.
spirits need to face and free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion need to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the faith that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. The stories of our living brings us all both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion need to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the faith that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion need to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the faith that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
Extinguishing words. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you. You may be seated. Our service has ended. Friends on Zoom can stay in that room to have a nice conversation, or you can come down here and join us all together for lunch on the front lawn. There's wonderful food, again, plenty for everyone. There's tents, there's shade, there's chairs, there's a mister. Please come on down and join us. Thanks so much for worshiping with us today, and congratulations, Ellie.